What is up, all you sexy mothers out there?
What's up, buddies? Everybody,
What's
how's
up?
everybody doing today?
Over to my left, I had to make sure because of the cameras. Over to my left, we have the cohort, Mr. Charles Fort himself.
Hello, everybody. Good to see everybody. Glad to be back. As we talk about some riveting, fun tales of murder.
Murder?
Murder.
Did somebody say murder?
I think somebody said murder, Dave.
And what a weird coincidence.
I know, right? Like, I didn't even.
I didn't know they're
I
going
had
to come
no
to.
idea at this time last Wednesday
Yeah.
or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Had no idea that this would be happening today.
None.
Haven't been following the case. Really haven't, had no idea.
Yeah. So hey.
Fun times. We're just going to get. But you know how much people love murder documentaries and all sorts of all that kind of creepy fun stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, look at all the streaming stuff that they've got. They've got a whole section on one of the streaming sites where it's all like true crime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And tonight we will be talking about at least 2 specific crime stories.
Exactly. But first, I want to get something out of the way because it's bugging the crap out of me. So it's got to be bugging the crap out of everybody else. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the obvious. All right, you guys see it? See it? Now you're
gonna Dave, what is that on your head?
The fuck?
Are you 16?
Get it out of your system.
It's that puberty, folks. Once it gets you, it ain't letting you go.
Prom night was the other night, and I was stressing really bad and sweating, and now I can't go to school tomorrow.
Guess you just have to call in, but I guess that's pretty easy nowadays. So
get some concealer, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, put some makeup on it, nobody will notice.
Right, or just put another one over here, so it's like
match. Be like the forehead Frankenstein.
See, I just made a little red spot, but
perfect.
Hey,
I mean, down there, I'm sure you'll find plenty of wildlife outside. Just don't put bug spray on, and I'm sure you'll get bit.
I should just get like a tick and just set it on there and be like,
"I'll be perfect." Just experiment.
Man, I got bit by a tick. Who knows?
You totally want Lyme disease or
I mean, I'm willing to risk it.
That actually kills people. More than 1 to 5% hospital. Anyways,
I'm willing to risk it.
Yeah, right. Need a vaccine for that one, Dave?
No vaccines for me, sir.
What about a flu virus shot, Dave? How about those? Me neither. It's fine.
I haven't had the flu since I was 5 years old.
I hadn't needed to get a flu shot until this past year because I recently got a new niece, so I wanted to make sure I got a flu shot, protect her and all that good jazz. So we're good there.
Yeah.
But anything else? Nah, don't care. Not worried about it.
In the face for it when I got this for you, so
you owe me.
No. Look,
no. I don't like that very, very well at all. She'd probably kill me, which rightfully so. I mean, I would hope so.
I mean, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one. But hey,
I'd rather get a vaccine.
All those cool peoples out there celebrating today. You know what today is. I don't need to say it.
It's Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday.
Woo! All day.
But what is the number of today?
It's the 3rd day of the week, Charles.
Technically, you are correct because Sunday is the beginning of the week for a lot of you not modern people out there. It is not what you thought Monday is the first day of the week. No, it is Sunday. For all us hardworking American individuals. No offense, Dave.
No, take it.
No, it's a beautiful day for a lot of people, and we'll go into that. And I know there's a lot of people probably celebrating right now.
It's fucking 420.
Exactly, it is 420, and I know lots of people celebrating today. I support it medicinally. It helps a lot of research. It helps a lot of people out there, and I know today is a big celebration day for all those people. And hey,
tomorrow, tomorrow's going to be though, right?
Biggest national drug test day in America.
That and laundry day.
Laundry day. Yeah, I'm sure laundromats just go huge.
Well, all my clothes smell like weed.
Well, bud, you probably didn't have your 4 friends over that also smoke a ton of weed and you're passing a bunch of joints or blunts around or whatever those things are called, the kids nowadays.
Using a hookah.
Yeah, a hookah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like that would be weird to smoke out of, but that's just me.
Yeah. Because I don't know why. This is the funniest damn thing too. Like I said, I don't smoke cigarettes, weed. Well, I mean, I have, but I don't on a regular.
Yeah.
But like I always envision like the hookah, and then for whatever reason I think of like backwash. I don't know why. I think of backwash. Like everybody's attached like to these hoses to the same thing. It's like if I spit in this, is somebody else gonna catch it?
How it works, Dave.
I don't know. I'm just saying this is
I've
what.
actually smoked out of a hookah, like a hookah lamp.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
friend of mine had a hookah lamp, and we'd have hookah sessions, like, and it was good. It was fun. It wasn't like,
You play like
I don't really
Clue. Who
know.
laced the hookah? The one that's not fucked up.
Do it, Jeffrey. Yeah, the one that's used to it. That's tolerance to it. No, I thought it was fun. Like, it was cool, but I mean, it definitely wasn't like a buzz like that tobacco or something would give to you. But
No.
I don't do tobacco, so there we go. But
See, it all worked out in the end.
it does work out. So let's talk about some murder. How do you feel about that?
You're just rushing right into it, aren't you? You're like, I'm ready to go.
I'm ready for this.
Let's kill some people.
Well, I mean, we're going to describe some things that is not so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We should disclose this to the people. So we're going to be talking details of the cases. So there will be terms or things that may be triggering to some. So if you do find yourself sensitive to these terms, I would definitely say don't watch the show, or just buck up and get through it. Whatever you want to do. If you want to watch, it's cool. If you don't want to watch us, okay.
Not cool, but still, whatever.
But anyways, this is an adult conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about some crazy, weird things, no different than what you'd hear on a documentary or what have you. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
What are you looking at, my friend?
I'm just reading some comments. Speaking of the murder thing. There's people. I made a post on my Facebook page, and I'm reading some comments. Like everybody's talking like how scary it must be for the jurors.
Oh, you mean that if they ruled one way, then they'd just get blasted?
Yeah.
And their lives would be ruined because. Never mind. I'm not going to say it.
This guy there's somebody else on here talking about this, trying to argue with me about this, and he's completely wrong on his facts.
Okay. You mean how the examiner went in and said that his lung capacity was at 98%?
Yeah. Like the guy's like, he murdered Floyd. Justice was served. I told him Floyd couldn't breathe before he was even on the ground. He couldn't breathe in the car. If anything, I would see negligence because they should have called EMS at that time to check him out. And even the prosecutor said that Floyd might have died of other causes, which would have confirmed the coroner's reports. But it is what it is. And this guy comes back with negligence would just be not calling EMS, which is what I just said.
I say you literally just.
And he's like, he put his knee on his throat until he died. I'm going to let that sink in. He put his knee on his throat until he died. That's wrong. That's completely wrong.
It's on his back.
It was. Body cam, there's like a small portion of time where he actually did have his knee on his neck, but it wasn't long enough to really do anything. The body cam footage shows his knee on his shoulder. Even the police chief acknowledged it. The police chief who condemned him at the time acknowledged in court that the body cam footage shows it's on his shoulder.
But the sad thing about this whole case is, with this happening, even if they ruled the other way, or even if all the facts came out of, like, I don't know. I know that they came out and said that his lungs were at 98% capacity. That means that he could breathe. Like, yeah. I hope people understand that normal is 95%. That's normal. So 98%. But anyways, my alluding to, you don't drink bong water. That's so true. So true. What I was saying is, no matter what, the tremendous pressure that they're under right now is
all I'm going to say, and I think you're going to be in agreement with this. Chauvin was a scapegoat for people who don't know how to deal with the bigger issues at hand.
You mean like the world being on the brink of a world war right now?
On how to deal with our political leaders.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
The shit show and fire that they've started. Nobody knows how to deal with it. I mean, I know how to deal with it, but it's illegal.
Yeah.
But
Our politics have gotten way out of hand, and it's
Yeah,
it's
our
completely divided.
politicians.
It's horrible. Yeah, absolutely.
Maxine Waters. I know
I
we're not going to get political on this show. I'm just going to
Yeah,
put this out there. She's the biggest hypocrite in the world.
absolutely. Did you know a couple guardsmen got shot at like that next day in Minnesota?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Hmm.
Guess I'm surprised.
Shooting at our military. And then when I see pictures of people spray painted "Death to America" spelled on buildings and blocks, that's great.
Well, it is what it is now. It's over, hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see how the riots and stuff go tonight. If people celebrate by breaking into stores and stealing shit,
Mm-hmm.
no better way to celebrate a criminal by.
I've had people tell me, it's like, oh, I don't care if it's big corporations or anything like that. I'm like, all right, so you want people that work at those corporations to go poor. Got it. Or not have a job. Got it. Oh,
Yeah.
Also, let's not rob mom and pop stores, but yet mom and pop stores are getting demolished and robbed nightly in, let's say, I wouldn't say Seattle necessarily, but definitely Minnesota.
Maybe Portland.
Portland. Oh, yeah, that's a whole other
ball game.
mess.
But yeah, I mean, what better way to celebrate a criminal than to act like criminals?
When you make good bad and then bad good, that's not good anymore.
Life is backwards. And
so
that's
bad.
why we have true crime.
To keep you all distracted from the truth.
Which we will give you. Or not.
Or not.
Or not.
I don't hold the palace. I just spread the information.
So, in preparation for the show, you told me the case you were looking up. I didn't even bother to look at the case that you were looking up. I didn't want to know anything. Yes. I wanted you to come at me with what you found, and then I could take it in, and we can go over the talking points about this. And then once
that's actually the same reason why I didn't want to ask you.
Right. And so whenever you're done, I'll go into mine. I think mine's a little bit more for the paranormal realm.
Definitely. Mine's just like a serial killer.
Which can be fun.
We're talking about murder.
Murders.
So I was thinking about going the paranormal route, but I was like, I don't know, whatever. And I thought this one kind of was interesting and stood out to me a little bit.
I just want to say this would be freaking hilarious if you ended up telling the whole story of Clue. That was your murder mystery. It was Clue.
Sure. Definitely not that case. I'm pretty sure.
Miss Peacock.
Miss Peacock in the boiler room with the candlestick killed Colonel Mustard. That's exactly what happened, everybody.
We had a moment like that at the 1904 church this weekend. It's pretty funny. There was a moment between Justin and I. We were texting each other, and yeah.
Are you doing another vlog about that?
I might. If I do, it might be for members only.
Oh.
Yeah.
On your OnlyFans, Dave?
No. My OnlyFans is just for feet.
We could call it Only Ghosts.
I've thought about creating an OnlyFans, getting a pedicure done, right? Make my feet look sexy, and just do nothing but pictures of my feet. Then I'm going to get all these fans, like all these guys are like, oh, I'm going to soap up your feet and do all this stuff. Then like at the end of the year, just do like this reveal party. Like, ha.
Hey, Big Daddy.
This is what you've been lusting after.
Yeah, but guys will be like, oh, yeah.
Oh.
Give me those stinky, dirty feet. Anyway,
let's shave that hair away from my belly button so I can pick it cleaner. That beat of sweat.
Because I'm sure people are into that sort of thing.
You never know on OnlyFans.
You really do never know on OnlyFans. All right, so my guy that I am going to be talking about is named John Robinson. And John Robinson,
Mr. Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That was interesting. Yeah. So John Robinson is an American serial killer, con man, embezzler, kidnapper, and a forger who was found guilty in 2003 for 3 murders committed in and around Kansas City, Kansas.
God, what can he do?
Right. Receiving the death sentence for 2 of them in 2005, he admitted responsibility for 5 additional homicides across the river at a trial in Kansas City, Missouri, in a deal to receive multiple life sentences without possibility of parole and avoid more death sentences. First off, I don't know how you can get more death sentences when you already have a death sentence that's going to be carried out when you die.
Well, like, what are they going to do? They're going to like lethally inject you, then bring you back to life.
Put adrenaline in your heart, bring you back to life, and kill you again.
I'm going to kill you. We're going to keep killing you till you die from it.
Our justice system, I don't understand. Anyways, so yeah, multiple death sentences. Fun stuff. As of 2019, with 8 murder convictions across both states, Robinson remains on death row in Kansas. So this dude's still alive. He hasn't been killed yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this stuff happened back. So like, right? Like, what happened to the good old days where it's like once you found out the person was like guilty of what they did, you just took them out back.
You lynched them.
Yeah, lynched them, shot them. Boom, done and over. Now we got to wait, I don't know, 20, 30 years. What good does that do? You're just costing government money. But
we're going to feed him.
Exactly.
We're going to torture him with our prison food.
That's taxpayer money going to feed that serial killer.
We're going to make him suffer through daily rapes till he starts to enjoy that. Then we're going to change it up to shanks. And then
I think he'd enjoy that way too much.
Maybe. You never know.
All right. So I'm going to read off from my phone here. So it'll be a little bit of a different angle. So as of 10:15 a.m., as of at 10:15 a.m. on Friday, the 2nd of June. See, there you go. You'd have to peel it for each one. The 2nd of June, 2000, at 36 Monterey Lane, Santa Barbara Estates, Kansas. 2 police officers knocked on the door of John Robertson Sr. and told him he was under arrest. He would be later charged with aggravated sexual battery of 2 women, his wife, Nancy, who was brought in for questioning but had nothing to offer for the investigation. The next day, a team of detectives and forensic investigators set up base on Robinson's farm. 5 large metal barriers would be quickly found with the use of cadaver dogs. When opened, the first barrel would uncover a naked, blindfolded, and decomposing body laying face down in the fetal position. A second barrel was opened where another decomposing body would be found. The bodies are removed from the scene and taken to Dr. Donald Pojman for autopsy. Over the weekend, search warrants would be signed approving a search for 2 storage lockers owned by Robinson in Raymore, Missouri. Monday, June 5th, the task force moved in and opened locker E2, finding inside 3 barrels, each marked rendered fat pork, or pork fat pork. Dyslexic. Kevin Weiner, Kansas City PD Crime Lab, opens the first barrel in which he finds, among other items, a shoe, which then picked up has a leg attached to it. 3 barrels are taken away from the autopsy to Dr. Thomas Young in Jackson County. So.
A drumstick.
Yeah. That's going to be good on the fire later. Oh, yeah. Like it's this house. Or what was it? No. Hills Have Eyes crap.
This body's got souls. I know. Lame. I'll drink to that.
That was good, though. I'll. Touche, my friend. Oh.
I'll
grab the wrong glass.
Wait, you got 2 glasses?
Maybe. I think they got 3.
Respect.
All right. So, the first of many. That afternoon, John Robinson made his first appearance since the discoveries on his properties. Wearing standard issue prison orange, Robinson was in a Johnson County courthouse where he would hear that his bond was being raised to $5 million. Tuesday afternoon, at another press conference, DA Chris Koster would announce that each of the 3 barrels found in the storage locker would contain a female body. Wednesday morning, one of the bodies would be named Suzette Truton, who has been missing since March 1st, 2000. On June 12th, Beverly Bonner would be named as the first of the 3 bodies found in the storage locker barrels. The next day, June 13th, John Robinson was charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder for the bodies found in Kansas and Missouri. The death penalty would be sought by both states in Johnson County Court District, Kansas. Robinson is formerly this person's sentence structure is not the best. Sorry. Robinson is formally charged with 2 counts of murder for the death sentence of Suzette Truton and Isabel Lewicka. In addition to the kidnapping aggravated of Suzette In Cass County, Robinson was charged with the murder of Beverly Bonner and the two still unidentified women found in the storage locker. They would be identified in late June via their dental records as Sheila Faith and disabled daughter Debbie.
Oh wow.
Still killed a disabled person, like asshole, straight up.
Well, he probably had to. I mean,
She was witness to the crime.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. And he's like, well, can't let her survive.
He got charged with a kidnapping and the murder of the one girl or a couple of them.
Yeah.
If I was him, I would have been like, "Look, Your Honor, there's no way I kidnapped these ladies. You can't kidnap a dead body."
It wasn't me, yeah. They were already dead.
They were dead. I just buried them. I thought they needed a proper burial. I didn't have a coffin.
Why didn't you call it in? Man, I thought my work here was done.
Phone lines were tied up. I didn't have cell service.
The traffic was horrible.
Right? I tried to tell somebody. I tried. Nobody wanted to listen to me.
Nobody wanted to listen to poor old Mr. Robinson. Anyways.
Just note that we're not really making sounds like we're making light of the situation. Obviously, it's a terrible tragedy. We understand this, but we don't want to make it like so dark and dreary on this show.
Right. We got to add some fun to it. Like,
have some.
Do I feel for each family member in person? It's murder. It's the same way that you talk about other paranormal, like, well, not paranormal, other murder. Like,
it's the way we always talk about murder.
We always talk about it. We just like, and it's if you can't laugh at that, serious issues. Anyways, that's just how
it's history. It's happened. It's over.
Nothing we can do to change it.
Yeah.
Except, do other things. Anyways, so John Robinson was born in Chicago suburb of Cicero on December 27th, 1943. Born the third of 5 children to his parents, Henry and Alberta. At 12 years old, encouraged by his father, he joined the Boy Scouts, and by 1957, he was named Eagle Scout. He was chosen as the sole American representative to lead 120 Boy Scouts at the Royal Command Performance in London in front of Queen Elizabeth II. Well, yeah. At age 21, he married Nancy Lynch, but soon left Chicago after being accused of embezzling money from the hospital where he worked, ending up in Kansas.
I wonder how he did it.
In 1969, John Robinson was arrested for embezzling over $100,000 for his latest employer, Fountain Plaza X-Ray Laboratory. In August, he was found guilty of embezzling $33,000, receiving a suspended sentence and placed on probation for 3 years. In 1971, and several more cases of theft from employers. This guy was a real piece of work.
Yeah.
Robinson set up his own business, but would continue forging documents to pay for his growing family. That's how you do it.
How did people keep hiring him?
Oh, that's the thing, is eventually he opened his own business. He was his own owner.
I mean, yeah, I get that. But if you were in trouble for embezzling from your first job, and then the second job's like, you know what? Man, we'll take a flyer on you.
Because background checks back in that day weren't that good, Dave. This is the 1960s/70s we're talking about.
You don't think that name would have got around?
Nope. Not if he moved from Chicago down to Kansas.
He would have had to lie about never working there.
I think he lied about a bunch of stuff, which goes into other things as well. But anyways, shall we continue?
Yeah.
So this would peak in 1975 when John Robinson was caught forging signatures and letters attempting to claim thousands of dollars via a shares scam. But an investigation into Robinson's company by the U.S. Secretaries and Exchange Commission led to a 4-count indictment for security fraud, mail fraud. Yeah, $33,000. Well, you got to think back then, $33,000 was probably quite a bit of chunk and change.
It was like $35,000.
Yeah, something like that. 4 counts of indictment for security fraud, mail fraud, and false representation. Robinson was fined $2,500 and placed on 3-year probation. This dude was fined only $2,500. Nowadays, people are fined like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Look, I'm getting a little bit irritated with this because I could just embezzle a bunch of money and pay a fraction of what I embezzled to pay my way out of it.
Yep. Go bury all your money somewhere. Pick it up later.
I should have been born in the 50s.
There's a guy pretty famous from where I come from. He robbed a train back in the day. I don't know how many, but maybe just one. Buried the money, went to jail, got out of jail, and was a millionaire. I wonder how that happened.
Figures.
But it's an interesting tale. It's a local legend from my part of the woods. All right, so in 1977, in an effort to raise his public profile, John Robinson invented a new award, which he claimed in its first year he was now Kansas City Man of the Year, an award he tricked State Senator Mary Gant into presenting him with a plaque. The Kansas City Star ran a story about the luncheon in its next edition. However, the paper received numerous protests about the false story, resulting in a reporter, Mac Edwards, being sent to investigate the claims. Embarrassed, the Star ran another story exposing Robinson's criminal history and his guilt on embezzlement charges. Karma's a... Anyways, okay. December 30th, 1980, and Robinson was fired from another job, employee relation management at Guy's Foods in Liberty, Missouri. In June the following year, Robinson was charged with felony theft. He was eventually ordered to pay back $50,000 to Guy Foods. December 31st, Robinson pleaded guilty to stealing a check worth $6,000. Facing 7 years in jail, Robinson made a deal with the prosecutors and received 60 days in jail with 5-year probation. His jail time was served from May 8th to 1982 before being released in July. Freaking nuts, isn't it?
How many chances has this guy had?
He's had plenty, and he's still breaking the law
every freaking time.
And then he goes to kill people. He's like, I embezzled in money. Now what can I do?
It's like, well, I embezzled. I got caught. I embezzled. I got caught. I embezzled. I got caught. I embezzled. I got caught.
I
did not learn my lesson, so I embezzled one more time and got caught.
But now, Dave, what if his thinking was like, I can just kill somebody and I won't get caught?
Yeah. What makes me think I'm going to get caught for anything?
I don't know. People are weird. All right. So in summer of 1984, John Robinson advertised for a sales representative for his company, Equi II. How this dude has a job, I have no frigging idea. Paula Godfrey, a 19-year-old graduate, applied for the job and was successful with Robinson, even promising a trip to San Antonio for training. Excited about her prospects, Paula would tell her parents about the job and her employer. September 1st, 1984, John Robinson turns up at the Godfrey house to pick up Paula for her San Antonio trip. It was the last time Paula would be seen by her family. Everybody knows where this is going.
He's like, I'm not going to get caught.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, you're the last person to see the person and they go missing.
Yeah. Not fishy at all.
What's going through your head, bro?
Yeah.
Jeez. With no contact from his daughter, after 4 days, Bill Godfrey, dad, would fly to San Antonio himself. There he discovered that Paula hadn't booked into the hotel where she was supposed to be staying. Returning back home, Bill confronted Robinson at his offices and demanded that his daughter contact him within 3 days. After 2 days, a handwritten letter appeared with a Kansas postmark on it. The letter, supposedly written by Paula, stated that she was safe. Bill Godfrey dismissed the letter as having been written by his daughter and took it directly to the police. Smart.
Yep.
Smart guy. A second handwritten letter would be posted to Overland Park Police Department, again reportedly written by the daughter. This letter, again posted in Kansas, stated that she was okay, thanking John Robinson for all his help, and also stating that she did not want to see her family again. That's a bit suspicious.
Man, I mean...
Let's thank this guy who I went on a trip with that you guys haven't been able to see me since we went on the trip.
He's amazing.
You say, oh, he's the greatest guy ever. There's nothing. He didn't kill me. There's nothing wrong with him. It's great. Everything's... did I say I don't want to see you ever again? Yeah.
By the way, this is not John Robinson.
This dude's an idiot. Once again, Paula's family dismissed the letter. However, the police took the letter as genuine and removed Paula from the list of missing persons. So the dad was the smart cookie, and the police were like, nah, it's fine.
She's 19. She's just angry.
It's fine. It's a stage. She'll come back. It's okay.
When she has that first kid, she'll be back.
Yes. How by this time she could have many. I don't know. All right. So this is Lisa. January 1985.
1986. Have another drink,
Apparently.
Charles.
Thank
Drink.
Bruce Almighty for that one.
Caca pee pee.
Like the Anchorman. Anyways. You can't show a mama with that mouth. Anyways. January 1985. And John Robinson was again allegedly involved in the disappearance of another woman.
No.
Lisa Stacy, a 19-year-old mother of a little girl, Tiffany, separated from her husband after a short but violent marriage, was staying at Hope House, a shelter for battered women in Kansas. Her social worker, Kathy Stackpole, met with Lisa to give her good news of a charity organization willing to help her by offering her a job with training and a home and rent free as a part of the program. She was doing good. She was about to do great, right? Lisa went to her sister-in-law's house, Kathy Klingensmith, to await collection by the group. John Robinson soon arrived to pick up Lisa and her baby. Tiffany, her baby and Tiffany, and drove away. Whatever. Drinking's not helping with sitting structure.
Woogie boogie.
Lisa was promised to return soon to collect the remainder of her things. A few days later, after staying at the Overland Park Roadway Inn, the threesome booked out on the January 10th, 1985. Lisa would not be seen again. 15 years later, Tiffany would resurface as the adopted niece of John Robinson. He couldn't kill the kid.
No, that's good, but like
that's still messed up.
Poor kid.
Yeah. On Friday, January 11th, 1985, Robinson met his brother Donald and his wife Helen at the Kansas City International Airport with their newly adopted daughter, informing them that the mother had unfortunately committed suicide recently. Donald and Helen were unaware of the true story.
Jeez. And it's family. You're going to believe family. That sucks.
Yep. On January 13th, Kathy Stackpole received a typed letter from Lisa Stacy, dated January 10th, stating how grateful she was for their help. Lisa's mother-in-law, Betty Stacy, would receive a similar letter, but Betty knew that Lisa could not type. A few days later, John Robinson would make phone calls asking if anyone had heard from Lisa, claiming that she and her daughter had disappeared from the inn. At this time, Robinson's probation officer, Steve Hames, was becoming suspicious of his business dealings after hearing rumors of illegal activities and begins an investigation into their dealings. Oh, no. Exactly. Like, he's just like popping up out of nowhere like, hey, anybody heard from Lisa yet? Just want to make sure she's okay. I sent these letters out to all y'all, but no, I did this myself.
I kind of feel like that's exactly how he sounded.
This is exactly how he sounded. This is his voice. It's like it's almost like the guy from Family Guy that likes to. I can't think of his name, but oh, hello there. Yeah, so poopy doodly doo. I can't think of his name, but anyways, there's more.
Also sounds like the dude from Scary Movie 2. I don't know what the hell that is, but I'm gonna lick it.
I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna lick it too. Take my good hand.
Give me your other hand, but this is my strong hand.
Such a great movie. All right.
Yes.
Jeez. Irv Blattner, an assistant and official parolee to Robinson, walked into the Secret Service office in Kansas City on March 19th and offered to turn government witness into Robinson's activities.
He offered to turn himself in as a witness, basically.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. The previous week, the Secret Service had questioned Robinson about a $741 check, which had been illegally cashed by a friend of Robinson. The check was meant for a student named James Hargrove. Blattner believed that Robinson was setting him up to be a fall guy. Special Agent John Gerber, whatever,
Geber.
it's Guerber, Guber, asked
Geber.
Blattner about any involvement Robinson had in an organization assisting young women with babies. Blattner would tell the agent of a plan to help pregnant women give birth, but then put the babies up for adoption. Blattner refused to be involved in the idea. At the end of the interview, Blattner would sign a statement giving details of Robinson's illegal activities. On March 21st at 11:55 a.m., John Robinson was arrested. He would later pose a $50,000 bond and be released from custody.
Kidding me?
Yeah, he got away.
The courts
Again.
should have his arrest record.
You'd think after so many times,
Like,
of
you know what?
being
He could probably pay this.
illegal stuff, we should probably lock him away for life.
We should probably put him away for a bit. No, sir. That is unjust to my counsel.
So then, good things happened. Not really.
I mean, some more bad stuff, but then some good things happened in light of the bad stuff.
The FBI was involved in the investigation into John Robinson. Were interviewing women at the outreach program. Agent Levin had gained evidence that a building used by Robinson's Equi2 business was, however I'll just say that, being used as a brothel.
Halls, you say?
Dramatic pause. Anyways,
Halls and murder.
March 26th saw Robinson. Exactly. On March 26th, saw Robinson and his attorney, Bruce Hudek, present at a parole violation meeting held at Missouri State Probation Office. Robinson had to answer counts of parole violation of forgery, illegally cashing the check, and consorting with someone with a criminal record, Irv Blattner. John Robinson denied both charges, claiming it was Blattner who was responsible for the check, and also that he was unaware that Blattner was on probation.
No, Blattner talked to me. I didn't talk to him.
Exactly.
He approached me.
Exactly. So Steve Hames was frustrated that it was proving difficult to pin Robinson down with any crimes. He just kept getting away. The FBI continued to keep Robinson's business at Troost Avenue under surveillance. On June 12th, while Robinson was away, they moved in. In the apartments, they found Teresa Williams. She thanked them for saving her from Robinson. They began to relate her story to the agents. Befriended by Robinson in April of 1985, Robinson led Teresa into prostitution. She also agreed to allow Robinson to become her pimp. As the relationship continued, Robinson began to assault Teresa regularly and soon was able to persuade her into a plot to frame Irv Blattner. Dun, 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 dun. John Robinson instructed Teresa to write a diary with dialogue that he gave her. This diary would culminate in her apparent murder by Irv Blattner on June 15th.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. John Robinson told Teresa that she would actually be going to the Bahamas. While the FBI was able to take Teresa away from John Robinson, probably saving her life, they did not make any move on Robinson herself. For 3 weeks following Teresa's apparent disappearance from the Troost Avenue, with the aid of FBI, Robinson employed a private investigator, Charles Lane, to search for Teresa. On July 10, 1985, she was found. Robinson instructed Charles to monitor the house where she was living to find the cause of her walking away. However, Lane was interviewed by the FBI, and Teresa was moved again, this time well away from the reach of John Robinson.
Good.
Yeah, right. On July 29th, 1985, Robinson returned to the courthouse in Clay County to find that he was guilty of breaking the conditions of his parole on 3 counts. On August 21st, Judge Hutcherson, I thought it was about to say June, sorry. On August 21st, Judge Hutcherson, ordered the Robinsons' probation be revoked. Hereby, I'm about to just take this whole hour. I just realized what time it is, 8:40.
That's fine. Go for it.
Okay. An appeal was lodged which allowed Robinson to remain on bail for $250,000. During the appeal hearing, Robinson came away with a satisfactory conclusion. The decision was overturned, allowing Robinson to stay out of the jail.
What?
Albeit on parole.
What the?
albeit on parole. Yeah.
Still,
Oh, it's not over.
no, I know, yeah.
But it didn't last long. In January 1986, while on bail pending his appeal hearing, John Robinson was in a court defending a charge of felony theft. Robinson's company, Equi, had been commissioned by Back Care Systems International to market their range of products. The plan included publishing brochures to advertise the company. Back Care Systems International became suspicious that the requested work was not being carried out. Robinson forced Irv Blattner to forge invoices, but the trick failed, landing Robinson in court. The 3-day trial ended on January 30th, 1986, and resulted in Robinson being found guilty of theft to the tune of $3,600. The district attorney of Johnson County, Steve Obermeyer, observed Robinson's criminal past and persuaded the judge to take it into the account when sentencing. The judge, Herbert Walton, agreed with the DA and sentenced Robinson 5 to 14 years, in addition to the fine of $5,000. Defense lawyer tried to appeal the decisions, but they were denied. Dude, this dude only got 5 to 14 years for all his stuff. For all his money BS. Whoa.
Laundering, his kidnapping.
Oh, no. No, not kidnapping. Just,
yeah, they didn't.
Just the
they didn't
stuff.
bring
They
him up on that.
catch him on the kidnapping stuff. That was all dismissed. So on July 10th, 1986, John Robinson was charged again, this time on 4 counts of attempted fraud on a business deal with Gerhard Goody. Robinson offered Gerhard part of the ownership of a land agreement, to which he paid Robinson $150,000 for the opportunity, which he later discovered that Robinson had fraudulently modified the sale agreement to read $100,000 and pocketed the remainder. Dang. Despite these additional charges, John Robinson was still out of custody and continued to run his business. In January 1987, he employed Catherine Clampett as his secretary. The job required Catherine to travel across the country as business on behalf of Robinson. Catherine's family were mildly suspicious of this opportunity and warned her to be careful. In spring 1987, Catherine disappeared. She was declared a missing person on June 15th. John Robinson was questioned, but no clear evidence was found, so the case was dropped. Like, what?
Is there something wrong with our judicial system?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
On May 16th, 1987, Robinson gave himself in to the Johnson County Jail. The sentence was minimum of 5 years. He was soon transferred to Kansas State Penitentiary in Hutchinson as prisoner number whatever. I don't care about the number. During his stay at the facility, John Robinson suffered a series of strokes, which resulted in right side of his face partially being paralyzed. A little bit of karma there.
A little bit.
On January 23rd, 1991, Robinson had now served the minimum time at Kansas, and his good behavior was granted for parole. Stupid. Stupid. However, Robinson was immediately handed over to Missouri prisons officials to serve the remainder of his original sentence, thereafter breaking his parole terms. Due to his health, Robinson's sentence would be carried out at a Western Missouri Correctional Center in Cameron, where he would serve the remainder of his sentence before being released in the spring of 1993. Beverly Bonner met John Robinson during his time at Missouri prison. She was responsible for the library in the facility, and then Robinson was made her assistant. The two became friends. She and Robinson had actually met 20 years earlier, having worked at the same company in Kansas City. Once Robinson was released from prison, he offered Beverly the job of running his company, Hydroglow, which sold organic vegetables. That's an interesting name for... Anyways.
Hydroglow.
Yeah. Beverly
agreed.
Right. Beverly agreed. Robinson set up a home in Florida. Beverly divorced her husband, Dr. William Bonner, after he found... And it is Bonner, Bonner.
I was like, that name sounds familiar.
Right? It's a very popular prank call name. Now you have to call me by my name, Mr. Boner. It's spelled. Anyways.
Yeah.
A friend of mine used to do that one all the time. After he had found the affair, Beverly agreed. Robinson set up a home in Florida. Beverly divorced her husband, Dr. William Bonner, after he found out her affair with Robinson. Yikes.
Oops.
She moved to Florida to be with John, who was still married. Beverly Bonner's family never saw her again.
Hmm. That's what happens when you like bad boys. Let that be a lesson to you, ladies.
Yep. Bonnie's ex-friend received the occasional
I like how he jumped on there. Yep.
Yep.
Enough said.
Yep. You saying it all right there. I don't know what you would add to it.
Good life, murder.
Which one you want? Which one you want?
There's a chance and there's not a chance. I mean, it's
A certain death.
I would
Certain
rather
death.
take certain death. And
Yeah, right. So Bonner's ex-husband would receive the occasional typed letter bearing her signature, telling him that the company was sending her on various assignments around the world, traveling to Australia and across Europe. Easy. William never doubted the authenticity of the letters. However, he did think it was very odd that in December 1995, Beverly failed to attend the funeral of their eldest son, Randy. Bit suspicious. So, and then we have Sheila. In 1994, Sheila Faith Howell was 46 when she became smitten by John Robinson, who she first encountered on the internet. Oh yeah, that's right. He was what some people call the first like over the internet killer.
Huh.
So I forgot to say that
I was
earlier.
gonna say like 94. I remember
Yeah.
like
Yeah. He would be one of the first. Like he would be either one of or the first over the internet killer that is known. You know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she had been depressed since her first husband, John, died in 1991. Sheila was left to raise her 15-year-old disabled daughter, Debbie, on her own. Sheila fell deeply in love with her knight in shining armor, such as she announced to her friends that she and Debbie were going to move in with him at his home in Kansas. Her friends were shocked by the sudden decision and warned her that it sounded too good to be true, but Sheila would not listen. In the summer of 1994, John Robinson arrived at Sheila's door to help them move. They were never seen again. Shortly after they left for Kansas, Sheila's brother, William Howell, received received the first of many typed letters signed by Sheila, telling him that a wonderful time she was having. But William was suspicious and asked the Social Security to track his sister and niece via the Social Security checks they were receiving for Debbie's disability. However, the administrator refused to divulge such information as it was considered private. In autumn of 1994, the Social Security's administration received a typed letter signed by Dr. William Bonner informing them that Debbie was now completely disabled and required full care. This in turn made an increase in the checks payable to Sheila Faith. So, dude had some money coming in.
Yeah,
Easily.
he just kick back.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
Man, there's still a bit of paragraphs left for this. But that's okay. I'm okay with that.
All right then. This guy's for a criminal. He's led a pretty damn interesting life.
He's worked his way through the system for sure. Sure. All right, so this is about Isabella. In Poland, Isabella, I'm going to say Lewicka, immigrated to America in November 1993 from her family when she was 15. At 19, Isabella became involved in the BDSM scene, where in 1997 she made contact with John Robinson over the internet. For all of you that don't know, BDSM is a sex thing.
Yeah.
Whips and chains.
Dominating.
Stones don't break my bones, but whips and chains excite me. Yeah, that's kind of what that is. But there's more stuff to that. That's a whole other side of the show that we're not going to get into.
Phantasm orgasm.
Yes. Within 9 months of initial contact, Isabel moved away from the family in Indiana to be near Robinson in Kansas City, where she offered herself as a permanent sex slave. He had a 19-year-old permanent sex slave.
This guy he had game. Before there was game, he had game.
This was in 1997, and this guy was born in 1940 something. Ew. Yeah. Ew. That's disgusting. Anyways, during their time
oh man. Well,
that is
20 years isn't so bad, right? The 40?
No. He was born in hold on. Let me
In
figure out the
1940.
dates here.
If it's 1997, she was
He was
19.
born in 1943.
Okay, yeah. So he
It's
would have been,
1997.
and then she was 19. So take 19 from 97.
Yeah, so it would be like 44, and he was at 20 years. It's fine.
Well,
It's
I was
fine.
saying 20 years. Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's
just about. Just about.
Yeah,
Not quite.
it's fine.
Not quite.
That's
Whatever.
porn stars have had it worse. It's fine.
For sure.
Anyways,
Sure.
it's disgusting. Where does lift off? During their time together, Isabel would proudly tell people that Robinson was her husband. However, he would say that she was his cousin.
He's like,
That was almost worse, right?
don't
Like,
put me on that shit.
It was almost worse. It's like, this is my cousin. I'm a sex slave. But he's my husband.
We're from
Which one's
Arkansas.
better? I mean, they were in Kansas City, but I guess it's close enough. Isabel often visited Robert Meyer's bookstore in Overland Park. She had gone to the bookstore on many occasions previously and could be considered a regular. She
Or a
and Robert,
librarian.
huh?
Or a librarian.
Yeah, that too.
Doesn't
She
that
was.
whole BDSM thing, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good point.
Mm.
That was a very good point. Simulation of a librarian.
Simulation.
All right, cool. She and Robert would chat about the books she was purchasing. On July 18th, 1999, Isabella made one of her visits to the bookstore. This time she was accompanied by John Robinson, whom she announced as her husband. As he purchased some books for her, the pair were about to leave when Isabel mentioned to Robert that she was moving away. This was the last time Robert Myers saw Isabella. Her parents would receive typed letters from Isabella telling them of her adventures around the world.
Of course.
It's always letters, man.
I'm out
This guy sat down and wrote out letters for all of these people continuously.
I wonder if he had some papers. He was like, go ahead and just sign these blank pieces of paper at the bottom.
Maybe it's possible.
Just sign them all. So he's got a stack like this.
Right. So Suzette Truton had experienced the BDSM scene for several years, particularly in Gorian practices. No idea what that means. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Glad we're here. Glad you're here. It means a lot to us. I have no idea what Gorian practices is for BDSM.
I don't know either.
Becoming the slave to several masters and using the internet to find willing partners. Oh, that's what Gorian practices is.
Okay.
It's a whole new world. Anyways.
Duck, goose.
Fantastic place. Anyways, in 1999, Suzette met a man in an internet chat room who went by the name JR. Robinson.
Wait, that was my name.
In 1999, Dave?
Yes.
1999. Okay.
I was in high school.
You're talking to some random people on the internet in high school?
Yes.
How dare you? How about those Omega
AOL,
sites?
buddy. AOL.
I remember AOL very, very well. Get off the internet. I'm trying to make a phone call. Hang up the phone. I'm trying to get on the internet.
Trying to look at some porn, but it's so damn slow.
Takes 5 minutes to load.
It loaded right to here before I got caught.
Those are some pretty eyes.
I'm going to finish before it gets to her chin.
Something like that. So JR, who described himself as a wealthy businessman from Kansas City. Of course, it's always wealthy businessman.
Yeah. Nobody's going to show up like I'm a bum.
Right. After several months of contact by email, JR made a job offer to Suzette to nurse for his diabetic father on a round the world trip. This is lining up perfectly for him to fucking write letters for people.
Yeah. Sending them from different countries and shit.
Exactly. Suzette was very tempted by the offer, but suggested that she spent some time in Kansas meeting both JR and his father before making the decision. Smart.
Yeah.
In October 1999, Suzette met JR. John Robinson managed to persuade some colleagues to pose as various members of his family to entrap Suzette. Yeah. This dude went out of his way.
He had the money to pay him. All that embezzling.
That's such a fair point. Okay, so he posed some very. At the end of the 5 days, Suzette agreed to the job offer, and on February 14th of 2000, she moved to Kansas to begin her new life. For the next 2 weeks, Suzette rented an apartment on Robinson's credit card.
Hmm.
He would often he would visit, regularly explaining that he had some business deals to conclude before she could begin her new career. The pair had regular sex. I bet she pitied him. I bet is what it was. I bet it was in pity.
How am I supposed to pay for all this?
Well, it was more of like, oh, I'm so blah 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 with my old poor dad, whatever, and I bet my heart was broken, blah blah blah, so many times. Please be poor. Like, I bet she pitied him, or she was. The money was very
Well,
persuasive.
if he was paying for the apartment,
True.
he probably persuaded her in a manner that is not fashionable.
Fair point. All right, so with that being said, they would take photos of the moments, like regularly.
Yeah.
Which Suzette would email to her friend Crystal Ferguson.
Yeah.
She mailed those explicit photos
Come
to her
on
friend
up.
Crystal.
Come on up to Kansas City.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
The email between the two friends would continue long after March 1st when Suzette actually disappeared. The tact of the email suddenly changed after that date. Suzette no longer talked about past friendships or events in her life. All correspondence would talk about how good her life is and how happy her boss and new master made her. All the emails were signed Suze, a nickname she had never used before.
You know, even though he's gotten away with so much, you'd think he'd be smart enough to at least learn their little
quirks.
Their quirks, yeah, the little
patterns
signatures, their patterns, yeah.
Yeah, you would think. But it was the internet, so it was a completely different time.
Yeah.
It was like first starting out, really. Not really first starting out, but you know what I'm saying. All right, so Crystal continued to receive emails from Suze. She explained that because her new master was treating her so well, she wanted Crystal to experience a relationship similar to hers. Crystal was highly suspicious that it was not her friend sending the email, and so, to expose the author, Crystal decided to play along. A man named JT, who had advertised himself as stern but fair master, soon contacted her. Crystal noticed that the email style was very similar to Sue's and suspected that they were the same person. After a few weeks of playing along with her master, JT, Crystal began receiving phone calls from him. The second male named Tom began emailing her and offering to be Crystal's master. But again, she was suspicious. Tom gave Crystal a series of phone numbers which he could be contacted at any time. Using a police friend, Crystal had the numbers traced. Each of them led back to John Robinson. Starting to see a pattern here. At the end of March, John Robinson called the Truton household and spoke to Suzette's mother, Caroline. He had complained that her daughter had let him down. She had run away with him and her job with a man she had only just met, and that he hadn't seen her since. Carolyn's other daughter, Dawn, contacted Overland Park police to give them the story and found out that John Robinson already under investigation there. I think it's starting to add up a little bit.
Like something's not right.
Yeah, it's like, this just doesn't seem right. Obvious to an investigation into his business, Robinson in his many guises continued with his emails to Crystal, attempting to persuade her to visit him in Kansas. On March 29th, Crystal was contacted by Detective Jack Boyer of Lenexa Police Department. He contacted her because of a friendship with Suzette. The detective complained that he was a part of the task, or explained, not complained.
What is this fucking task force?
This is stupid.
It's a horrible job.
I just can't read. Task force investigating disappearance of her friend. After discussing the case with Crystal, she mentioned the emails she was receiving from Suze. The new contacts, JT, JR, and Tom, and her suspicions. Yeah. Detective Boyer agreed with her thoughts and requested Crystal to continue emailing them, but pass copies on to him as well. Crystal said she would. John Robinson was known to stay at the Extended Stay Hotel in Kansas. In March, he stayed for a few days with an unnamed woman. During their stay at the hotel, the woman was only seen once asking for photocopies of a document. The desk clerk witnessed the document and was horrified to read that it was a slave contract. Kansas law requires that all hotels provide a list of long stay guests to the police. The hotel was sure to notify police as the document and the owner of it. The visiting detective left instructions to inform police immediately should Robinson return. In search for Suzette Truton, detectives discovered that she and Robinson stayed at the Guest House Motel in February. Here, forensic tests discovered bloodstains in the room they rented, but were unable to determine the source. But back at the extended stay American Hotel, an unnamed woman from Dallas booked in. Her stay was paid for by Robinson, who soon joined her in the room 120 on April 23rd. The FBI were staking out the hotel, gathering evidence against their suspect. After 5 days, Robinson ordered his slave back to Dallas and be ready to move to Kansas. Robinson promised her with the move, but he never turned up. She tried calling Robinson, but he never was contactable. He had taken a number of photographs of his slaves in various bondage poses, and she wanted them back. Unable to reach John Robinson, she called the police. 2 officers from Lenexa interviewed the woman. After listening to her story, the detectives talked to the FBI, where, for the first time, they had learned of the FBI file on Robinson that included suspicious prostitution and white slavery. This dude's so weird. All right.
Honestly, they can make like an entire season of a TV show on this, and
Yeah.
like every episode could be him going to jail and getting released.
Gotta get up today, boys. Hey, Mr. Robinson, what's going on?
We'll see you later, buddy.
I'm finding out a crime embezzlement. Yes.
We'll clean your bunk and everything. Get it all folded down and everything nice and neat.
Exactly. On May 19th, 2000, John Robinson was again the suspect in a complaint from another unnamed slave. As before, Robinson used the room 120 in Extended Stay America. She told detectives that during her stay, John Robinson repeatedly overstepped the safe mark. As with the previous women, he beat her and took several photographs. When she complained, Robinson quickly left. The Lenexa task force, followed by the FBI, interviewed the woman to gain important information about Robinson. The task force decided that Robinson was becoming too dangerous, and so the decision was made to arrest him. District Attorney Paul Morris approved the arrest warrant, and on June 2nd, 2000, detectives moved in. Charges against Robinson were increased on July 28, 2000, when he was charged with the murder of Lisa Stacy, who had disappeared in 1985, the aggravated interference with parental custody in the case of Robinson's niece, who is believed to be Lisa's daughter, Tiffany. In late January 2001, Missouri prosecutor Chris Koster backed up the 3 murder charges with 56 counts of forgery. John Robinson was accused of forging the Social Security checks intended for Sheila and Debbie Faith. If found guilty of these forgeries, Robinson could face 382-year sentence. We're almost there. I think we've got
almost.
We're almost there.
That is multiple life sentences.
That's a lot of life sentences. Despite a last-minute appeal by the defense team citing slow release of prosecution evidence, the trial of John Edward Robinson Sr. began September 16, 2002. In the Olathe courtroom, Judge Johnson Anderson III. Robinson's case was the first in the state to potentially end with a death sentence. The prosecution, headed by attorney Paul J.
Really?
Morris. What?
Really?
That's
in the state?
First in the state to potentially end with a death sentence.
That doesn't make
Kansas.
That doesn't sound right. Oh, in Kansas? Well,
Yeah.
still, even then, that doesn't sound right.
It's just what it says. In the Olathe courtroom of Judge John Anderson III, Robinson's case was the first in the state to potentially
Maybe
end.
for John Anderson, like this is the first one that he might.
Maybe.
I mean, you think about the old Western times. I mean, some of those cases resulted in a hanging.
Yeah, but were those officially documented cases, or were those people like, we find you guilty, let's hang him?
Well, I mean, there's one where I guess that was in New Mexico or Oklahoma. No, it was New Mexico. Never mind. I'm getting that one confused. I don't know, man. Just have to look that up. I'm thinking it's more for John than it is.
I don't know. It just says Robinson's case was the first in the state to potentially end with a death sentence.
Okay. We'll roll
The
with it.
prosecution was headed by District Attorney Paul Morrison, had charged Robinson with 8 counts, including the murders of Suzette Truden, Isabel Lewicka, Lisa Stacy. Morrison has successfully argued prior to the trial that although John Robinson was to be tried separately for the murders of Beverly Bonner and Sheila and Debbie Faith in Missouri, they were so crucial to Robinson's activities that they can be included as evidence of ongoing patterns. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
On October 8th, testimony began outside in a radio station stunt. T-shirts were being sold by the phrase, "Roll out the barrels." You know, if us having a smiling and trying to have a good time in this light of sense is seen bad, how about those people? The ones
Yeah.
saying barrels on T-shirts. That's fucked.
Freaking T-shirts at a truck. I'm gonna roll somebody up in a barrel. T-shirt.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fucking
For
stupid.
2 weeks and 100 witnesses, Dr. Paul Morrison presented his case to the jury. Robinson's wife, Nancy, testified that she knew that her husband used the alias James Turner and that he was having affairs with other women. She also admitted that Robinson enjoyed BDSM lifestyle. Okay, we all know this now. Deputy Coroner Donald Podgman described how each woman was killed having received heavy blows to the left-hand side of their skull. Each would be instantly killed, so at least they all died like that.
Instantly. Yeah.
Thank God. The defense argued that the prosecution case was entirely based on circumstantial evidence. They admitted the evidence presented did link John Robinson to 5 women, but not their deaths. Hence, the case was not proven. Patrick Berrigan, for the defense, pointed out that no other potential suspects were investigated and that Robinson was the sole focus for this police investigation. Despite the fact that other known persons had ample opportunities to have committed the murders, these potential suspects were overlooked. On October 28, 2002, the testimony ended and the jury began their deliberations. The following day at 3 p.m., only 11 hours of discussion, they returned with a guilty verdict on the charges. John Robinson gave no reaction to the verdict. 3 days later, the penalty phase of the trial began. Under Kansas state law, the options were simple: a life sentence or death penalty by lethal injection. To be sentenced to the death, the jury must be unanimous in their decision. The defense pleaded for a life sentence using the members of Robinson's family to request mercy. That's pretty low still.
Yeah.
Nancy Robinson once took the stand. When questioned, she accepted that her husband was guilty because the jury found him so. The jury, however, rejected the pleas and announced their decision of death by lethal injection. Once again, John Robinson stood to hear the verdict and offered no response. He was taken back to his cell at Johnson County Jail, placed on suicide watch until he received a formal sentencing. Meanwhile, his defense lawyers filed an appeal against the verdict. The appeal was rejected on January 21st, 2003. Judge Anderson III Forley gave Robinson a death sentence and the life sentence for murder of Lisa Stacy, whose body was never found. And this is the last 2 paragraphs. In March 2003, Robinson agreed to be extradited to Missouri to face 3 murder charges, those of Beverly Bonner, Sheila Faith, and daughter Debbie Faith. On April 24, 2003, Robinson pleaded not guilty to the 3 murder charges. Judge Joseph Dan Durand is what his name is. His last name is Dan Durand. Beautiful. Set a trial date of March 8th, 2004. On October 16th, 2003, Robinson returned to the court to announce via his lawyers a change in his plea. Robinson had negotiated with prosecutor Chris Koster to give a guilty plea for the 3 murders. In exchange for his plea, Robinson received a life sentence. However, as part of the plea, Robinson confessed to the 2 further murders that he was not charged with. These 2 additional victims were identified as Paula Godfrey, who had disappeared in Olathe, and then 27-year-old Catherine Clampett, who disappeared in 1987.
Mm.
Yeah.
Woo!
Riveting tale. That was a lot.
What a life, man. Holy
Yeah.
crap.
This dude got away with so much.
For so long.
He just said, screw the system. I'm going to do whatever I want.
And the system's like, you can go do whatever you want.
Yeah, literally the system said you could do whatever you want because
we'll catch you and we'll release you. Catch you, release. Catch
and release works well for everyone.
Man. Can't believe that, man.
I know. It's nuts, isn't it?
That's not something you see, like a guy like that you would think you would hear about.
I don't remember about hearing his case at all.
Yeah. like not just with the murders and stuff, but like also with all the extortion and money
Oh yeah.
laundering, and yeah, you would think you'd hear about it a lot more.
Nope. Not quite. Which is
Well,
just so freaking nuts.
which leads right into mine, like perfectly.
Perfect.
Not really.
Get it.
So I'm gonna break this. This one's gonna be broken down into like some segments here.
No,
So
hours later. Sorry.
no, it's fine. It's completely fine. Mine's not gonna take as long. So
Well, that's good.
this is a little known murder case that has to do with a ghost. Air quotes. Ghost.
Paranormal.
All right. This is called the Hammersmith Ghost Murder Case. Okay.
I like the name.
It's very catchy.
It is very catchy.
Could be a song. Hammersmith Ghost Murder Case. No? No.
I like it.
So so this case, which happened in 1804, yeah, we're going back. We're going old school. Set a legal precedent in the UK regarding like self-defense, that someone could be held liable for their actions, even if they were the consequence of a mistaken belief.
Huh. Go on.
So near the end of 1803, a lot of people claim to have seen or even have been attacked by a ghost in the Hammersmith area of London. A ghost believed by locals to be the spirit of a suicide
Casper.
victim.
Sorry. It's Casper. Freaking Casper.
That friendly ghost shit? That's the front. That's
Not so friendly ghost.
he's probably like the most baddest of all of them. They just like
Watch it. His name's like Trasper or something. It's the not so friendly ghost. It's Trasper. Trasper. The not so friendly ghost. I don't know.
So the people in London thought it was the spirit of a suicide victim.
Mm.
On the 3rd of January of 1804, a 29-year-old excise officer named Francis Smith, who was a member of one of the armed patrols that was set up in the wake of the reports, he shot and killed a bricklayer named Thomas Millwood because he mistook his white clothes, which were the clothes of his trade.
Yeah.
He mistook that for a shroud of a ghostly apparition. So he shot and killed him.
What kind of paranoia hopped up BS is this dude on? What?
So let's talk about the ghost, okay? Because you got to have that backstory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from November 1803, a number of people in the Hammersmith area were claiming to have seen this and also being attacked by a ghost.
Okay, see, that makes more sense.
Right. So local people said the ghost was of a man who committed suicide the previous year.
Jack the Ripper.
And had been buried in the Hammersmith churchyard.
Okay.
The contemporary belief was that the suicide victims should not be buried in Okay, so I guess they believed that the suicide victims, they shouldn't be buried on consecrated ground because their souls would not then be at rest, which doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Okay.
The apparition was described as being very tall, dressed in all in white, but was also said to wear a calfskin garment with horns and large eyeglasses at other times.
It's quite particular.
This sounds like a costume. There was probably actually somebody out there accosting people. Stories about the ghost started circulating. 2 women, one elderly and the other one pregnant, were reported to have been seized by the ghost on separate occasions while walking near the churchyard. Huh. They were apparently so frightened that they both died from shock a few days afterwards.
Oh my God.
A brewer's servant, Thomas Groom, later testified that while walking through the churchyard with a companion one night, close to 9 p.m., something rose from behind a tombstone and seized him by the throat. Hearing the scuffle, his companion turned around, at which the ghost, quote unquote, gave me a twist around, and I saw nothing. I gave a bit of a push out with my fist and felt something soft like a gray coat.
Wait, the ghost turned him around and he reached out and there was nothing. Like he just felt something soft.
Yeah, he went to push out with his fist and felt something soft.
So was it
Like a
dark?
gray coat.
Could he not see anything?
It was 9 p.m. And this
In a not
was,
so well lit area, I'm sure it would have been dark as fuck.
yeah. It didn't say what time of year that was. At 9 p.m. is gonna 9 p.m. any time of the year.
Okay,
Really
I'll buy it. I'll buy it. What? Some douchebag scaring the crap out of people, you know?
Yeah. On December 29th, William Girdler, a night watchman, saw the ghost while near Beaver Lane and gave it a chase. Calm yourself. The apparition threw off its shroud and managed to escape. So obviously, not a ghost.
I was going to sound like a Sleepy Hollow scenario here. What's happening?
So, with London not having an organized police force at the time, and as many people were very much frightened, according to Girdler, several citizens formed armed patrols in hopes of apprehending the ghost.
What year was this?
1803.
And London didn't have police forces?
They didn't have an organized police force, no.
Huh.
So,
okay.
With the
citizen militias. That's fine.
basically.
I get it.
Yeah, they armed patrols. So in comes Thomas Millwood. In comes Thomas Millwood. And honestly, if this was a Jack the Ripper case, I wish it had been like a lot of these had been on this lane, this Beaver Lane, because that would have just like made it that much more golden. The prostitutes being murdered.
Beaver Lane.
Beaver Lane. I'm just saying.
It lines up, dude. Yeah. I mean, it may not line up to the British because that's not how it is over there. No. But
facts, though. Let's just go with that.
Facts. Just
that was Beaver Lane for all intents and purposes.
Beaver Lane.
The Beavs.
It's okay. I used to live on the. Never mind. I was gonna say something stupid, but
all right.
I used to live on Beard Street. That was the street I grew up on. Was Beard Street.
That's pretty.
I was gonna be stupid, and be like, I used to live on Bush Street. See, exactly, something stupid. Just throw the microphone off. Just turn the computer off and walk out right now. Just leave. Exactly. Oh, that's messed up.
All right. The death of Thomas Millwood. So at the corner of Beaver Lane, while he was making his rounds at 10:30 p.m. on January 3rd of 1804, Girdler met one of the armed citizens patrolling the area, a 29-year-old officer, Francis Smith, armed with a shotgun. Smith told Girdler he was going to look for the supposed ghost. Girdler agreed that he would join Smith after he had called the hour at 11 p.m. and that they would take the ghost if possible. Then they went.
Take the ghost if possible.
Take the ghost if possible.
Take the ghost. I hope people understand that. Take the ghost.
Yeah. Then they went their separate ways.
This ain't Ghostbusters, people.
Right.
This is the early 1800s. Sorry.
Just after 11 p.m., Smith encountered Thomas Millwood, a bricklayer who was wearing the normal white clothing of his trade, the linen trousers entirely white, washed very clean, a waistcoat of flannel, apparently new, very white, and an apron, which he wore around him.
This poor kid not knowing what a ghost is.
Millwood had been heading home from a visit with his parents and sister, who lived in Black Lion Lane.
Of course.
According to Anne Millwood, the bricklayer's sister, immediately after seeing her brother off, she heard Smith challenge him, saying, "Damn you! Who are you? And what are you? Damn you, I'll shoot you!" After which, Smith shot him in the left of the lower jaw and killed him.
Ow.
Yeah. Yep.
And those balls back then, twist, turn, they're meant to shatter.
Broke up. Yeah.
Like It's not a clean it's not a clean shot through. It's gonna hit, and everything it hits just gonna
Yeah.
let bone shrapnel
Even the bullet
everywhere.
shatters, and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's nope. Nope.
So after hearing the shot, Girdler and Smith's neighbor, one John Locke, together with a George Stowe, met Smith, who appeared very much agitated. Upon seeing Millwood's body, the others advised Smith to return home. Meanwhile, a constable arrived at the scene and took Smith into custody. Millwood's corpse was carried to an inn where a surgeon, Mr. Flower, examined the body on the 6th of January and pronounced dead to be the result of a gunshot wound to the left side of the lower jaw
Really?
with small shot about size number 4, one of which had penetrated the vertebrae of the neck and injured the spinal marrow.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm sure that tore through. Like, I mean, that's not a
Oh,
lot to tear through, honestly.
like if that could get through his neck too,
Yeah, if
that
he got shot like
easily,
right there, I mean, boom.
easily.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like he's just gonna be
Yeah.
like that. He's just gonna constantly just blown out right there.
You're enjoying that visual, aren't you?
I came across the video the other day. It's like, so people, this is a rare thing, but people can picture things with their mind, and it's like, yeah, don't people normally do that?
It's 420.
No, I mean just in general, like if you think about something like, oh, sitting on a bench next to some flowing water, you generally can come up with a pretty good image of that, right? Yeah, you peeing, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Peeing into the water. Is that what you're
stream.
doing, Dave?
It's a stream.
Sorry. Just that imagery, that thing that anybody
Yeah.
could do that.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. So we'll move on from the incident. So that was the incident. That was the death of Thomas Millwood.
Nuts.
So there's a reason why we're going through this, and
because I took up all the time. Anyways.
Yeah. So Smith was tried for the willful murder. The deceased wife, Miss Fulbrook. Wait, she had a different last name?
Apparently.
Odd. She stated that she had warned him to cover his white clothing with a great coat, as he had already been mistaken for the ghost on a previous occasion.
Of course, something warned him and he didn't listen.
And let's see, her testimony at the Old Bailey trial said on Saturday evening, he and I were at home. This is what she said. For he lived with me. He said he had frightened 2 ladies and a gentleman who were coming along the terrace in a carriage. For that, the man said he dared to say, "There goes the ghost," and that he said he was no more a ghost than he was, and asked him, using a bad word, did he want a punch in the head. I begged him to change his dress. Thomas says I, as there's a piece of work about the ghost, and your clothes look white. Pray do put on your great coat, and that you may not run on any danger.
It's so crazy to think about how she still warned him and he didn't listen.
Listen to your wives, guys. Listen to your wives. They may nag.
Not just your wife. Anyways, they may nag. Sorry.
They may nag, but that's their job.
Mm.
They want to protect you.
They love you.
By nagging at you.
They love you. We all work differently. It's fine. That's normal. We just got to talk it out and explain how we all feel about each other, and then it'll go from there. And if you're not happy with each other, move on.
Something like that.
Anyways.
Yeah. So then Millwood's sister also testified that although Smith had called on her brother to stop or he would shoot, Smith fired the gun almost immediately. Despite a number of declarations of Smith's good character, the chief judge, Lord Chief Baron Sir Archibald MacDonald.
Holy bejeez.
How many titles does this guy have to have? Then they didn't even call him a judge. Or honor.
Yeah.
Anyway, He advised the jury that malice was not required of murder, merely an intent to kill.
Hmm.
The Lord Chief Baron observed that Smith had neither acted in self defense nor shot Millwood by accident. He had not been provoked by the supposed apparition, nor
True.
had he attempted to apprehend it.
True.
Millwood had not committed any offense to justify being shot, and even if the supposed ghost had been shot, it would not have been acceptable, as frightening people while pretending to be a ghost was not a serious felony, but a far less serious misdemeanor meriting only a small fine.
Yeah, so that would be technically illegal for the dude to shoot him.
Yep. The judge closed his remarks by reminding the jury that the previous good character of the accused meant nothing in this case. MacDonald directed the jury to find the accused guilty of murder if they believed the facts presented by the witnesses.
Yeah.
After considering for an hour, the jury returned a verdict of manslaughter. MacDonald informed the jury that the court could not receive such a verdict and that they must either find Smith guilty of murder or acquit him.
Oh, snap.
That Smith believed Millwood was a ghost was irrelevant. The jury then returned with a verdict of guilty.
Yeah.
After passing the customary sentence of death, MacDonald said that he intended to report the case to the king, who had the power to commute the sentence. The initial sentence of hanging and dissection was commuted to a year's hard labor.
Jeez.
The huge publicity given to the case persuaded the true culprit to come forward. He was John Graham, an elderly shoemaker. He had been pretending to be a ghost by using a white sheet to frighten his apprentice, who had been scaring Graham's children with ghost stories.
Wow.
And there's no record of Graham ever being punished. Now, this had an effect on law in the UK. Some things were changed, some things went on. I mean, that's a pretty messed up case. I mean,
Very.
let's
Very.
at the very least, I mean, the judge
Like
is right.
The
Okay,
judge is right. Absolutely.
you cannot,
No.
even if it was an actual ghost. What are you going to do with a gun?
Let me just shoot it real quick.
Yeah, and if it was a person, which it was, pretending to be a ghost, throw a rock at him. Tell him cut it out.
Ah, get it out, boy.
You know,
Get out of here. Like,
or-
ha ha ha. You're
or
making
actually catch him and
Yeah.
like beat the piss out of him or something. You know,
how,
tell him not
or
to
that's
do
when he goes up and tries to tell him, "Hey, Sonny, leave," and then like just disappears.
Yeah.
That, my friends,
true ghost stories.
ultimate ghost story right there. Ooh,
But shooting a
Jesus.
man, shooting somebody in the face, that tells me intent.
You think he killed him on purpose?
I think so. I just have this feeling that there was some underlying issue between those two. And he knew what time.
Oh, I thought it was the ghost. Ah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He knew what time homeboy was going to be out there. Because he was out there at that time.
I mean, okay. I hear it.
He didn't go find Millwood until after that guy joined him and left. Waited till he left so he could go do that.
That is sketch. That is very
A little bit sketchy.
Sorry, that was a big yawn in the middle of the stream. Whatever.
Right.
That is very sketch. I don't know though. That's a pretty well thought out like murder. Like that dude.
I mean, it's not extremely
if that
well
was
thought out.
well, no. Okay, well thought out as in, oh, he's playing as a ghost. I can kill him, or I can go at this time and kill him, or what have you. Like I don't know.
Like, I have a defense. I thought he was a ghost. He's
Yeah. Boop. Yeah. He just thought I was like, oh, you know what? There's been ghost stories happening around here. I can use that to my advantage.
So when this went to court and the trial and everything, this had an effect on UK law. The question of whether acting on a mistaken belief was a sufficient defense to criminal charge was debated for more than a century until it was clarified by the Court of Appeals in the case of Williams Gladstone.
Good gracious.
in 1984 concerning an appeal heard in November of 1983. The appealant, Gladstone, had seen a man dragging a younger man violently along the street while the latter shouted for help. Mistakenly believing that an assault was taking place, Williams intervened and injured the apparent assailant, who was actually attempting to apprehend a suspected thief.
Oops.
Williams was subsequently convicted of assault, occasion the inflicting actual bodily harm. At the appeal, Lord Chief Justice Lane referred to the historical debate. Lane went on to clarify the problematic issue, and he said, in a case of self-defense, where self-defense or the prevention of a crime is concerned, if the jury came to the conclusion that the defendant believed or may have believed that he was being attacked or that a crime was being committed, and that force was necessary to protect himself or to prevent the crime, then the prosecution have not proved their case. If, however, the defendant's alleged belief was mistaken, and if the mistake was an unreasonable one, that may be a peaceful reason for coming to the conclusion that the belief was not honestly held and should be rejected. Even if the jury come to the conclusion that the mistake was an unreasonable one, if the defendant may genuinely have been laboring under it, he is entitled to rely upon it. So the appeal was allowed and the conviction was quashed. The decision was approved by the Privy Council and was later written into law in the Criminal Justice and Immigration Act of 2008. So because of the mistaking and using that as evidence or a defense, that was written into the law where, like, if you believed a crime is being committed, you had the right to stop it.
Yeah.
Or if you believed you were going to be accosted or something like that, you had the right to protect yourself, basically, under the pretense that you actually thought that was what was happening.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So yeah, it took 180 years for the Court of Appeal to make a decision on that.
180
topic.
years.
180 years. Because that trial, the Hammersmith trial, it ended in 1804.
What the hell's that better they got to do?
I know, right? And I guess not many people use that as part of their defense, but yeah.
I mean,
the trial that this came up again, or that it was quoted in, happened in 1984. So 180 years.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it sucks that dude lost his life, but he should have listened to his wife.
Nope, right? Don't wear white clothing out when there's a mad ghost running around scaring the bejesus out of everybody.
Come on, guys. First rule.
Fight Club.
First rule of Fight Club.
We don't go out looking like ghosts.
Definitely don't. Yeah, like Meatloaf and Fight Club. Jeez. He got owned. Such a great movie.
Project Mayhem.
That's a really interesting case.
It is.
Like,
just the viewpoint of the defense on that.
Yeah, of course. When I think of like old jolly England, my mind goes back to the stereotype of Sweeney Todd, the darkness of Sweeney Todd, and the gritty. So I could totally just see that playing out in an alleyway somewhere with a barely lit candle or something.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think like this case kind of helps me like rationalize in my brain, because you see all these movies like Sweeney Todd or From Hell and all these others that are set on crime in England and stuff way back when. Like there seems to be a lot in those movies. There seems to be a lot of gullible people in there. There's a lot of it. And listening to or reading the words of the judge from that case, like, I mean, the guy made sense, and
he was very logical. He was smart.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, honestly, it just kind of peels back that layer of the movie fiction stuff. Like, people were not that stupid. We're not.
No.
So, but maybe they were, because the guy was running around.
I don't know. I think Sweeney Todd was the perfect cover, man. I think it was perfect. You couldn't say otherwise. Just like they would just randomly go disappear in the middle of England where people are just pretty much dying right and left already.
True.
And then it's served up as some weird tasting meat pies that was better meat than what you had before.
It was better than that dog I just ate. Gave me the craps.
That's so true. Man, that's some good topics. I mean, I'm glad you went the paranormal, well, kind of paranormal route. It's very interesting. Speaking of paranormal route, did you see that? Oh man, what buildings get demolished in KC? There's some building getting demolished in KC, and I can't think of what it's called. Some historical society announced it. I just can't think which one it is. Darn it! I guess there'd been some really bad fires, and like it had something to do with Benjamin Franklin and stuff like that too. But yeah, cannot remember to save my life. Who are you talking to?
People being stupid.
Where at?
Facebook. Not going to get political on here. Not going to get political.
Don't do it, Dave. Don't do it. It's a trap. Don't do it.
I know.
It's a trap.
That's what these people are trying to bait me into, like, conversation. I'm like,
it's better to just.
I'm just getting them laughing face.
Don't waste your time. Yeah, just don't waste your time, man. People are
worth my energy.
There's some really, really idiotic people out there, but we're not going to get into that because that's not this kind of show.
That's right. So, I guess that wraps up our true crime for today.
It really does wrap up our true crime for today.
One could be made into the movie, and the other one just like a tale.
It would be good. Exactly. It's a good lesson. It's a great lesson. Don't act a fool and listen to your wife, and don't kill random strangers in a back alley that you think is a ghost.
Don't shoot at ghosts.
Yeah, don't shoot at ghosts. Fun fact, kids, you can't shoot at ghosts.
That's right.
Or you can shoot at the ghost, but it's not really going to do anything if it's a ghost.
So something we were talking about last week that we didn't mention before we, went off air was something that we wanted to try because we were doing like the musical reactions, like to different songs and videos. You just realized that we're gonna do this, huh?
Yeah, I was looking around earlier and I'm like, there's nothing that I can find that was actually good that I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
I didn't look around because I knew that it probably wasn't the right time to start just yet.
Yeah.
But next week probably so.
Yeah.
But anyway, we typically do, or we're doing these reactions to songs where you guys would give us a song to react to for next week, and we would do it. Well, we had one that literally blocked our entire live stream, so I had to re-upload that
just for that small piece.
So we're not going to do the music reactions, but what we want to do is react and review paranormal evidence. So if there's something you've seen out there on the interwebs that you think is creepy or fascinating or, a good fake that you might want to try to pass by.
Yeah, UFOs, creatures, ghosts, anything.
Yeah.
Anything out there that stands out to you that's very interesting. We want to look at it and check it out.
Absolutely. So you can send us a link. You put it in the comments down below or whatever at any time. We'll review the comments. We check it all the time. So give us something to look at. We'll review it. We'll analyze it with our mind brains and see if we can't come up with a rational explanation or be completely stumped.
I'm good with either one because that's the important of the unknown. We don't know.
And I think we will probably throw some up ourselves as well from time to time. And maybe we can start that next week.
Dave, I'm not drunk enough to throw up, dude. I'm good.
The song 21 Guns from Green Day.
Yeah, of course.
There's a line in that song that every time I hear it, I have this mental image. And it's the throw up your arms.
Like,
that's not the mental image I have. People throwing up their arms.
Oh.
It's like, that's weird. I know, right?
I see where you went with that. That makes more sense.
Yeah, so.
No preface there whatsoever.
21 guns, throw up your arms.
Gentlemen, lend me your ears.
Yeah.
I actually got I told you I got a box set from a friend of mine.
Yeah, yeah.
Robin Williams box set. I watched
Or
History
the
of
Mel
the World.
Brooks, Mel Brooks
Yes.
one.
Yeah, we watched Blazing Saddles, of course. And then we watched History of the World Part 1. And I actually really, really dug it. It
Yeah.
was like, it wasn't obviously as, to me, it's not as good as Young Frankenstein or Spaceballs, but it's still up there. It was good. It's good to be the king.
Mhm. I want to say there's a line he puts in all of his movies. Like I think that's it. I think that's the line. I think it's like 4 or 5 movies that I know of that he's put that line in.
It's good to be the king.
Yeah.
Or it's usually it's good to be the something. I thought
Something like
maybe
that. I'm gonna have to watch all these movies again just to find out.
it's well. Okay, so I thought I lost my friend's box set. And I was so pissed off. So it was at work. She gave it to me, brought it back. So I was like, "Holy crap, where's the box set?" So I was freaking out. And I messaged her. I was like, "It's not in my car. I think I left it at work." So I was afraid that I set it on top of the car and like just drove off. It was raining that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, mind you, this was like 2 or 3 hours after I left. I'd been like
Uh-huh.
pretty much getting ready to go to bed.
Then it hits you
Yeah, yeah, just straight up. And I was just so mad at myself. I was so mad. So I messaged her. I was like, "Hey, are you still at work?" Like just to see, because they had like some banquet that they were doing.
Yeah.
And she was just like, "No, I just left." I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I lost your box set already, and I just got it today." And so I was like, I told her the scenarios that it could have been, and I was this close to buying. So this was the DVD set that I have. I was this close to buying the Blu-ray version, where the DVD set doesn't come with Spaceballs, but the Blu-ray disc, the Blu-ray collection comes with all of them.
Nice.
I already have a Spaceball, so I was going to give her the space. Anyways, I don't want to finish that sentence.
I want to give you my space balls. My Milky
Something
Way
like that.
balls.
Something like that. It's not quite Phantasm Orgasm, but something like that.
Something like that.
It's messed up. So
There's
got
no
to
hair in
work.
space.
Got to work. Found it. We were good. But I'm actually considering buying the Blu-ray box set for
For
myself.
yourself.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't know it existed, so I was like, why not?
You know,
he's one of
what
my
is
favorite
it-
directors.
What is it about like shopping for other people that makes you find stuff that you really want for yourself?
Right? It's like I didn't know I needed this.
It's like, why did I not know this existed before?
Right? Oh man, done that so many times. Someone's like, I'm interested in this. I'm like, does that exist? What? Look it up.
Like, put 2 in the cart,
Yeah, please.
or you buy it and then like as soon as it arrives or something, or you get home with it, you're like, you know what, this is pretty badass. I think I'm gonna keep this. Let me find her something else. Not so good. Not as good as this. Here's a plant. Here's a ficus.
Here's a plant that I hope you're liking. Don't let it die in 2 weeks.
Make sure you water it. It's plastic, I know, but still, I don't want it to die.
It's just the plastic will start to stink and crust up if you don't water it. It keeps it fresh.
Why is there a camera in there? Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's messed up.
Just to keep an eye on the plants. Make sure
Just to make sure you water it every day. It's fine.
I just want to make sure it's living its best life.
Oh God.
YOLO.
Wish I was at that plant.
What?
What? I wish I was that plant. I'm feeling pretty good. This whiskey's like
Kicking you.
doing pretty good, man.
What are we drinking tonight?
92 proof. It's Larceny.
Larceny.
It's a really good one. I've actually worked down quite a bit. I've had this bottle for like 3 months though, so don't let that fool you. Like I can make bottles last a while.
If they made a better version of that, do they call it Grand Larceny?
I don't see why not. Maybe like a longer aged one.
Yeah.
But what's up with the key though, right? Like, so Larceny's fire. This is a key.
Is larceny fire or is that arson?
Ah, you are right. Arson.
Larceny, my friend.
Yeah, what is larceny?
Is theft of personal property. So it makes sense with the key a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe not really.
Hold on. Let me think about this.
You don't have to have the key to enter if you're breaking in and stealing something. Should it be a crowbar?
You would think. But the first sentence on this, like, very small, like, so if you look at the bottle, there's like writing right here.
Uh-huh.
And the first sentence says, to understand the name, you must first understand the man to do with the bourbon in short. He was a government man with
Oh.
something's. It's all cut up. I can't read all of it together.
Does it have like a originated year, like established in or made in?
1870.
So, okay.
Oh, here we go. John E. Fitzgerald's weakness was fine bourbon. A treasury or as a treasury agent who at the time
Yep.
was the only person legally allowed to carry keys to the rick house, he gave in to temptation, freely taking from the best barrels in each rick house.
He stole.
Yep. Those that contained wheated bourbon, bourbon made with wheat instead of the traditional rye. These eventually became known around the distillery as Fitzgerald barrels. Now, larceny bourbon honors both the superb taste of this lawless treasury agent and the legacy of old Fitzgerald's brand.
Nice.
That's pretty good history, right? It's better than freaking Jim Beam.
So I think I have an idea for the show.
Okay.
Next week.
Okay.
Because we brought up arson.
Okay.
Let's talk about spontaneous combustion.
Ooh, please. Let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Let's show some pictures and some slides.
Yeah.
Make it real sexy.
It'll get a little graphic.
A little bit.
A little graphic.
YouTube might be a little upset about it, but we're not monetized. So
just press play the video. Do you want to watch this video? Yes, I want to watch this video. Yes.
So yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. Spontaneous combustion. Be back here at 8:00 on Tuesday. Not for sure.
Next week, not this
Next
Tuesday.
week. Well, it's already past 8:00 on Tuesday.
But it's still Tuesday.
There's no more 8:00 for Tuesday, Dave. The next 8:00 is for Wednesday in the morning.
I know this.
Okay.
Hey, we should probably end the show now.
We probably should end the show. These people probably want to go if they haven't left yet. It's
we're
an hour and 50 in. Sorry, mine took like an hour.
They're like, we're watching these idiots drink and be stupid.
That's okay.
That's what you're here for. That's what you paid us for.
Right. That's right. And that's what we love.
To get paid.
Well, to drink and to get stupid. Have fun. Talk about whatever. It's great. It's fun.
Right?
Yeah. You don't have to worry about a darn thing. You can escape for a while and just listen to two guys nerd out about shit.
I've always wanted to do a radio show where all we do is just fucking drink the entire show, like get smashed, and talk about anything. Everything and anything.
Well,
let it fly.
Here we are, my friend. We're doing this together. Anyways, this is where I wanted to be too.
It's 5:00 somewhere.
It's definitely 5:00 somewhere.
I might hit one of those peaches and cream again.
Oh yeah, because what you have like 4 of them or 3 more left?
Of them. Yeah, 3 of them left.
The night is young, my friend.
And some Jaeger.
Sorry if I
all right, guys.
A little bit.
We're gonna go. Please.
Y'all have a beautiful night. Thank you for joining us.
See you next week.
Nice.